Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So welcome to this masterclass of SRG A40, A12, and BRC-AM7 new firmware upgrade. My name is Claire, and I'm the category head of network cameras. So today, I will go through not only the SRG A40, A12, and AM7 new firmware upgrade, but also our AI auto framing technologies. So I hope you can all see up my screen. So I will first go through the product lineup introduction, and then I will go through just a recap on our Sony's AI auto framing technology's uniqueness, and also our new firmware upgrade. We have SRG A40 and A12 version 4, and also BRC-AM7 version 3.0. And then actually you can drop down your questions in the question box. You will see the question box. So just drop down your questions, and then at the end of this presentation, so I will go through all the questions with you. And I will also do a live demo of our new firmware upgrade features. So here is our network camera lineup. So we have 3 different series. The first one, of course, is the broadcast PTZ cameras, which we have launched the AM7 a year and a half ago. So it's a relatively new camera, broadcast camera. So we have a new firmware upgrade like every year on that. And also we have the BRC X400, which is our mid-range broadcast PTZ cameras. And of course, we have our mid-range PTZ. I know that almost all of you are from either education or corporate Pro AV segment. So basically, a lot of universities, schools, and also corporate are using our SRG A40 and A12 in their meeting rooms or in their auditorium hall. So we also have a new firmware upgrade like every year on that. So I will go through the version 3 features on that. And then we have the SRG X40UH, which is our USB mid-range cameras. And of course, we have the remote controller, the RMIP10, which is a simple remote controller controlling the pan to zoom and like control up to more than 100 PTZ cameras at one time. And of course, we have our RMIP500, which is a more comprehensive broadcast type of controller. And for the meeting rooms, we have the seating microphone, or for the university auditorium hall. And of course, we have the edge analytic box that can do a handwriting extraction. So today I will focus more on the AI PTZ auto framing technologies. So here's our roadmap. Actually, this month, the 14th of April, we have officially released 2 firmware. One is the BRC-AM7 version 3 with a very advanced AI auto framing and also a basketball framing mode technologies. And SRG A40 A12 version 4, which also have advanced AI auto framing, including the ball tracking technologies and more enhancement of the existing features that I will go through it like one by one with you. So just a recap on like what is so unique of our built-in AI auto framing technologies. First, it is a built-in technology, so you don't need any external license or any external like gaming PC or powerful PC to operate it. It's all built inside our cameras. So basically, you just start the camera, power it up, and then activate the AI auto framing on our web UI, and that's it. And the auto framing will start automatically, and it is very accurate and smooth. Why it's so accurate is that it's a combination of multiple recognition technologies altogether. For example, the AI auto tracking technologies, like the solutions in the market, usually they can do a face recognition or only the head position detection or your body shape detection, but they can't do skeleton movement detection and also like your clothing colors and texture detection. So basically, our technologies is a combination of 4 different recognition technologies. First one, skeleton movement detection, like how your shoulders, how your knees, how your feet, how your hands move. And then through the AI deep learning, it can predict your next movement. So that's why over the time, the AI is learning by itself to do a very accurate tracking and recognize it's you so that it only track on you, not other persons. Of course, at the same time, they will detect your head position and your clothing colors and texture, and also your face recognition. And also, of course, we can do a very natural framing, and you can adjust the framing on our web UI that I will show you later on how to adjust it. And of course, you can also preset different composition, up to 3 different composition, not only full body, upper body, or close up. Basically, you can just drag the bar or drag the box on our web UI and do the preset of the composition that you like. And in addition of the auto tracking, of course, we support autofocus as well, especially for the BRC-AM7. Is support the focal plane, face detection, autofocus, and also face and eye hybrid autofocus, combining with the auto framing. So once you activate the auto framing, the autofocus will automatically combine with the auto framing, or we call it auto tracking. So basically, during very fast movement, especially now we support the basketball tracking mode. So basically, all the fast movement will never blur because of the very intelligent autofocus combining the auto framing technologies. And of course, for our BRC-AM7, because it's a newer models, so we have a new motor inside, which can do a very stable and slow movement, or a very fast movement, like up to 180 degrees per second. And because it's a new motor, it is very silent. I would say among all the 1-inch image sensor PTZ in the market, it is almost the most silent PTZ camera in the market. So especially in the corporate meeting room, you don't want the pen tool noise to be too noisy, right? So basically, quite a lot of meeting rooms, like corporate meeting rooms, that is using the AM7, or even classical music concert is using our BRC-AM7 because of the silent movement. So what's more, on our SRG A40, A12, and BRC-AM7, so we have a new firmware upgrade every year to improve our AI technologies. So last year we add a lead room effect, or someone call like looking room effect. Multi-person framing, you can now select from 1 person to 8 people. So select how many people you want to frame in frame. And also face pre-registration, you can pre-register up to 40 people. For example, in the university, you have a lot of professors. You can basically register the whole faculty into the system first. So, and then when the professor comes, then you select only track on those professor, and the camera will only track on the person you select, and based on your priority that you set. I'll show you later on in our live demo. And of course, tracking range is kind of like a predefined range. I would say you set up the boundary of your predefined range. For example, in the lecture hall, when the people step off the stage, then you don't want to keep tracking on that person, right? So you can just set up the tracking range like a boundary on the stage, so that when people step up the stage, then the camera starts tracking. When they step off the stage, stop tracking. And then the SRG A40, A12, we just launched the firmware conversion 4 with a lot of upgrade features. The most significant one is the basketball framing mode. Basically, this is our first step on object tracking, not only person tracking. So this year, with this new firmware upgrade, we will support basketball tracking. Basically, both the BRC-AM7 and SRG A40, A12 will now support the basketball tracking. Basically, this is designed for semi-professional basketball game. For example, university basketball game. not at like NBA level yet, because that is really too fast. But we have tested these models in the university basketball games, or even recently we have used it in the European League of basketball games. I would say it's semi-professional to professional basketball game. But of course, SRG A40 and A12, I think a lot of universities already have these cameras. And this camera basically can be used in the sports stadium, in the universities, especially for the training purpose. If you have a basketball team in your university, so basically you can just put a camera in the stadium and then keep tracking on the players and to use it for training purpose. This is very, very useful, and it's the unique technologies that Sony's PT sets have at the moment. And of course, the second one is a photo upload features for the face registration. As I mentioned, you can pre-register up to 40 people into the system. Now you can just upload that photo in JPEG format. I will demonstrate in the later live demo section. Of course, in terms of framing, we support close-up framing, which is very unique for Sony. And now you can basically frame in a very, very close-up angle, much more than before, especially when doing a presentation. You want to focus on the people's face, or even at the back of the auditorium hall. Then you can do a very close-up framing. And now for the detection area, tracking range, and fixed angle position. In the past, after you set it up in the settings page, when you go to the live page, you couldn't see like where did you set. You couldn't see the box. So some customer feedback that I can't remember like where is the boundary that I've set. But now in the live view, when you're doing the auto framing, the box or the boundaries is shown in the live view overlay. I will show you later in the live demo. And of course, Cisco, if you're using a Cisco system, you can now override the DHCP mode with the fixed IP mode. Just switch on the dip switch number 2. Okay, so basically for the basketball ball tracking mode, in our web UIs, it's very easy to set up. But if you have a university, you have the basketball field, try to put your camera at least 2 meters away from the central, like from the edge of the basketball field, and put it in a high position, around 2 meters high or even higher. Then just put it on a tripod and activate the ball tracking mode into our web UI, and that's all you need to do. And currently, with these technologies, it supports indoor basketball only. Basically, it's a more controllable environment, but the settings is very simple. And I will switch to the video. Please, just a moment, please. Okay, so as you can see in the videos that it is shipped by the BRC-AM7. Let me go back to the PowerPoint first. Okay, so as you see in the videos that the BRC-AM7 actually detect the ball first, so it will prioritize. So when you choose the basketball framing mode, the camera will prioritize to track the basketball first. But at the same time, it will detect the player's position so that it captures as many players as possible into a frame. And if you can see, like the yellow box, if you saw in the video, that it is a basketball field that you can map in the web UI. So basically, the first thing is to switch on the basketball mode and then map your basketball field. And then it will prioritize to track the ball first and detect the player's position. And also, of course, the court settings that you have set. And then the second one is that, so you may argue that, okay, so BRC-AM7 is a more advanced broadcast type camera. Of course, the tracking is so smooth as you have saw in the video. So how about SRG A40 and A12? Because a lot of universities already have those cameras in it. So how about the tracking performance? So basically we have did a POC video utilizing both the AM7 and SRG A40 side by side to track the real university basketball game. So let me share the videos with you. Please bear with me for a moment. Okay, let me go back to the PowerPoint. Okay, so as you saw in this video, it's a side-by-side comparison. SRG A40 basically, or I think it's the same as the A12. It's almost the same with the BRC-AM7 in terms of the tracking. But of course, because BRC-AM7 have a new motor inside, so the tracking is a bit smoother than the SRG A40. So basically for a very professional, like the European League basketball game, of course, people will use BRC-AM7. But in universities, if you have a sports stadium and you want to film the videos for training purpose, SRG A40 and A12 would be enough for that. So I hope you see the difference in the videos. Okay, so we will go through, now we go for a live demo section. I will show you how to set up the basketball framing mode and how to map the court in the web UI, and of course the face registration in terms of photo upload features. And like I said, you can now have a live view overlay on the tracking range and fixed angle position, the boundary that you have set. And also one more feature is that now you can, after you set up all the settings in the web UI, you can now save the setting and then copy to another SRG A40 and A12. So let me switch to a live view. Please bear with me for a second. Maybe I minimize a bit. Okay, so you can see in my screen that now I'm using a tablet. It's just a normal Google Chrome web browser that I just type in the IP address of the camera that I've set. So, and that's it. You can use the web UI. It's all free. It's just a normal web browser. Okay. So basically, what I said is that from the basketball framing mode, if you go to the PT set auto framing, you will see the first one is the person tracking mode, which we did it before in the previous firmware update, but a new one called ball spot basketball framing mode. So you just activate, click OK. You will see on the left-hand side at the bottom, there's a court settings. Imagine that you have a basketball field in front of you, then you can map the basketball field area. So for example, if I select like number 2 at the corner, then I can just drag the basketball field area and then map it here, the central line. And of course, like this one. And then just reload it. And this is the area of your basketball field. That's what you saw in the video, the yellow box of the basketball field. And then you click reload, and that's it, go to live, and then just activate start auto framing here. But of course, now I don't have a basketball field in front of me, so it doesn't track the ball. But what I'm showing is like how easy you can set up your PDZ camera in your sports stadium in the universities. So if I go back to person tracking mode, click OK, then the left-hand side options is already there. The second point is that for the face registration, for example, if you have a lot of professors in your university, you want to register as many as possible. In the past, you have to ask the professor to stand in front of the camera, capture the face, put the name in, and then set the priorities. But now we support a photo upload features. So just upload the photos. For example, if I select this lady, double click on face, put the name in. For example, it's called Talent 1, okay? Register. And then if I select another one, for example, this person, click on the face, and then like talent number 2. So just register as many as possible. And if you click edit here, of course, in the past, you can also set the priority. For example, I want this lady to be priority number 1. For example, in a group presentation, you want to set the key presenter as the highest priority, and then set the remaining of them in like priority 2 up to 40. So you can just change it here. And of course, now we have a new function, is that now you can see a weighted box here. So if, for example, if I'm not appearing today, if the professor is not in today, so I just unclick it and then click OK, and ask the camera to just start tracking on them. So you can see like register face tracking activated, click OK. Then the camera will only track on those persons that you have been registered by uploading their photos and based on your priority settings. Okay. So if I deactivate it again, then yeah, I can activate again if I'm in today. So okay, yeah. So remember, after you set up like upload all the photos, put their priority, you need to go to detection settings and register, toggle on the register face tracking range and click OK, so that the camera will only track on those persons. So these are new features that now you don't have to ask the person to stand in front of the camera. As long as you have their photos, then it's all done. And then the third one is a live view overlay of the tracking range and face registration, like the fixed angle position settings. So if I go to the tracking range settings, so now I have set, of course, I have set the detection setting first. If I go to detection settings, which the first person who go in the detection zone, with the camera start tracking. But you can also set the boundary, like a stage. For example, this is the stage of the university lecture hall, for example. Then I click OK here. And then you can set the whiteboard as a fixed angle position. For example, this is the whiteboard or a presentation screen, so that when the presenter walking in front of the presentation screen, the camera will stop tracking on them and keep the fixed angle position at the PowerPoint presentation screen. So if I activate, click OK. If I go to live view, if I go back first, so you will see some rectangle here, like the white box. So if I get up here, so if I walk outside of the tracking range, the camera will return to the start position and won't track on it. But if I step in again, the camera track on me again. And if you saw here, there's some dots line, like the first subtle one, that's the fixed angle position. So for example, if there's a whiteboard or a PowerPoint presentation screen behind me, so when I move, if I'm doing a presentation and I move a little bit, the camera won't track on me and keep at a fixed angle position. But when I step outside of this zone, the camera will track on me again. And if I walk down the stage, the camera won't track on me. So you can see here, you can see the detection area box, the tracking range box, and also the fixed angle position box inside. So now you can see all of them in the live view mode. So if I stopped tracking here, and after you set up all the settings, just go back to the PTZ auto framing setting page. You will see the left bottom corner here. It's called the PTZ AFR file, which is auto framing files. So you will see a save PTZ file button. Just put save, and then just download the file. So basically, you can download all the settings, auto framing settings here, except the face registration because of the privacy issue that we can't download and upload it to another camera. But for all other auto framing settings, for example, tracking range, fixed angle position, start position, detection settings, all kinds of settings that you can save in a file in your PC or laptop, and then upload it to another SRG A40. Okay. So basically, those are the new features of the SRG A40. So if I go back to my PowerPoint, so I will go through the BRC AM7 features first. So BRC AM7 also support basketball tracking mode or basketball framing mode, we call it, for a more professional style type of basketball game or competition. And a new features for the BRC AM7 is that you can adjust the pan, tilt, zoom sensitivity and speed separately. For example, if you're doing like basketball game, of course, you want to set up the speed to be the fastest speed and the most sensitive in terms of pan and tilt and zoom, of course. But if you're doing a group presentation, when the presenter is just moving a little bit to the left or right, you don't want the camera to suddenly move like very fast. So you can adjust down the speed and adjust down the sensitivity. I will do a live demo after this slide. Of course, close-up it also support, and live view overlay also support. And another unique features for the BRC AM7 is that now you can activate the optical image stabilization on the AM7. So this is a very unique features that is built in the AM7, but you have to activate it on the web menu. I will show you how to do that. And of course, some like broadcast type of features that like the scene file management, SFP+, and also 3GSDI. If you're doing a corporate event, you may need those features. So I do a live demo on the BRC AM7. So let me switch to the live demo screen. Watch it. Okay, so this web UI is the BRC AM7. So it's the same as the A40 that you just type in the IP address into the web menus, just a normal web browser. So basically you can see on the right-hand side, there are speed and sensitivity adjustments. So if I do it like there's a pen to zoom, you can adjust it separately. So the default is like 4 for the speed and 3 on the sensitivities. But you can adjust up to 5, which is the fastest speed, and down to 1 or even all of them to 1. If you're doing filming a group presentation, for example. So if I go back to the default mode here, if I activate the tracking, so I stand up and just walk. So sometimes if I walk very fast, the camera probably has some delay. Of course, there is a webinar, so the webinar app may have a little bit of delay as well. But what I want to show you is that if I'm doing, for example, a basketball game, I set the sensitivity to 5 and the speed to 5 is mainly on my pen movement. So if I walk very, very fast, the camera still track on me. But if I'm doing a presentation, you don't want the camera to move that fast. So you can just adjust the speed, for example, to 1 and sensitivity to a lower level. So now if I walk really fast, the camera may not follow me. Right? But if I'm doing a presentation, so if I'm just moving like left or right, the camera won't move that fast and now it's doing a natural framing on me. So it has more customization in terms of the sensitivity and speed based on different scenario. So you can basically adjust a lot of things here. And of course, we have the optical image stabilization, which you can activate through the web menu. If you go to web menu, go to settings, and then scroll down, and you'll see an image stabilization. The default is off, but you can basically activate it to on, like, or to standard. Yeah, just set it on. Yeah. And then when doing the auto framing, when you're doing a pen movement, the optical image stabilization also work with the auto framing. So which is very useful whenever, for example, if you are using it. Let me go back to the menu. So this is very useful when you're using it on a tripod. For example, in my room setup is on a tripod, or if you're ceiling mount and the ceilings sometimes have some vibration, right? When someone is stepping like upstairs, so probably you feel some vibration. So in the past, probably you see the image is vibrating, but now once you activate the optical image stabilization, so it's very, very stable. I would say there's a big difference and big improvement in terms of the stabilization on the AM7 with this new firmware upgrade. And of course, if I go back, if I switch off the auto framing, you will see it looks very similar to the SRG A40 that I have demonstrated. For example, the basketball framing mode, and also like tracking range, face registration. The AM7 doesn't support photo upload yet with this new firmware version, but in the future firmware version, we will continue to add on those features to the AM7. And also you can just save all your settings in AM7 and then just upload it to another firmware, to another BRC-AM7 with the load button. Then you can just select the file and upload it to another BRC-AM7. Okay, so for the optical image stabilizer, I could just talk here because there's only like one person's in here, but basically if I share a videos, you will see how different is it in terms of the optical image stabilization. Just bear with me for a second.
BRC-AM7 newly supports the optical stabilization. For the setup, open the camera menu, then go to image stabilization and select setting. Currently, the stabilization is off, and the shake can be observed in the HDMI output. Selecting standard will turn the stabilization on. The image shake has stopped. Turn off. Turn on. Turn off. Turn on. Next, I will turn on the PT auto framing. When PT auto framing is on, the stabilization function will stop if both pan and tilt are operating simultaneously to track the subject. When PT auto framing is on and only pan is operating while tracking, the stabilization function in the tilt direction will work. In cases like this video, even when tracking in the pan direction, the stabilization function is effective enough against tilt direction shakes. Additionally, although there is no video, if tracking is occurring in the tilt direction, the stabilization function in the pan direction will work. Next, I will turn off the stabilization. The shake in the image becomes noticeable, doesn't it? I will turn the stabilization on again. Turn on. I believe you understand that the stabilization function effectively works for these cases. That's all.
Okay, so I think you can see the difference of the image stabilization on and off. Okay, so let me go back to the PowerPoint. Okay, so this is just a summary because I've talked a lot on different features of the SRG A40, A12, and the BRC-AM7. So this is a summary table on what kind of features that they support. So for the SRG A40, A12, on top of the common features like the basketball framing mode, the real-time live view overlay, closer close-up, save and copy settings. So these four features are common through the BRC-AM7 and SRG A40, A12. But for the SRG A40, A12, we have additional features like the photo upload pre-registration. And of course, the Cisco support on the fixed IP mode is unique for the SRG A40, A12. While the BRC-AM7, of course, there's like broadcast type of camera that it can now adjust the sensitivity and speed setting of the pan tilt zoom separately. And of course, the optical image stabilization is unique for the AM7 and all other like the broadcast style features that if you're producing a corporate events, then you will utilize those features. I think that's all. So any questions? So let me go to the question box. So can you make tracking range wider? What is the fixed wheel? Can I pan 20-degree left and set a left side of the range and pan 30-degree to the right and set the right? Okay. So currently you can't do that. Currently you can only like adjust it to a wide wheel, like to adjust the zoom range to the minimum, which is 24 millimeters, and then select where you want to set the boundary of that. So currently you can adjust like the pan 20-degree to or the pan 30-degree to the right and to do the adjustment. So I think probably you're asking about whether you can set a multiple zone, right? So the tracking range like pan 20-degree, set one tracking zone, and then pan to the right, set another tracking zone. Currently with this new firmware version, we can't do it now, but of course we will further improve it like every year, so that that's why we are actually listen to different customers' feedback to add more features in the future firmware upgrade. But currently, you can only set one tracking range. If you want to set a bigger zone, then you adjust to a wide view angle and then set your tracking range. I hope I answer your questions. So any other questions? So probably, I think a lot of customers are asking, like, how about other live sports like football, handball, volleyball? Of course, this year with this new firmware upgrade, we will only support basketball tracking. But later on, we do have plan to further extend to other live sports. But we will focus on improving this AI technology first, in order to expand to other live sports, because we need to train the AI to learn other sports on that. So is there any other questions? If not, then I will end this webinar. So thank you very much for your time today. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me like after this webinar. Okay, thank you very much for your time. Have a good day. Cheers. Bye.